Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool and Ethereum ecosystems. My name is Wack. Today is May 1st, and today's episode is going to cover news of the audit reports for Rocket Pool's Houston update being released. We're also going to be talking about some positive news coming out of Lido, and after that, we're going to talk about some shocking news about the Ethereum ETFs. So let's get started.
10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
So we're going to start here with this news of the audit reports. So Langus here has a message in protocol updates saying the audit reports for Houston now available. And then there's a link. It says this was the most intensive audit process that we've ever had. Our audit partners Sigma Prime, Consensus Diligence, and ChainSafe conducted comprehensive audits of the Houston code base over several months. We are working with ImmuneFi to update the bug bounty to refer to the Houston version of the contracts. They should be live pretty soon. Please let us know if you have any questions or concerns. Rocket Pool. So if you go to the website and they've got here information about the audits, you can see that it says our smart contracts have been extensively audited multiple times by some of the best auditors in the Ethereum ecosystem. And I think it's actually really valuable to spend a minute to talk about this. Like Consensus, Sigma Prime, Consensus Diligence, and ChainSafe are honestly like some of the most well-reputed audit firms in all of the Ethereum ecosystem. And Rocket Pool has been working with Sigma Prime and Consensus Diligence, many times over and over again. And I think that really, adds a lot of security, I guess, to the Rocket Pool protocol. Here, like Sigma Prime, they worked on Houston, Atlas, Redstone, and before that as well, Consensus Diligence worked on Houston, Atlas, Redstone, and mainnet release as well. And then ChainSafe, this is the first time that they've worked Rocket Pool. Before that, we had Trailer Bits worked on the mainnet release as well. And of course, the ImmuneFi bounty now is up to $500,000 for a critical bug, $25,000 for a high severity bug, and $5,000 for a medium bug required. So the audit reports, people have been digging into them in the community, and it seems like it all looks good. There was a small concern that a couple of very minor issues were still outstanding, but I don't think they really impact the protocol. Basically, there were very low level and just informational issues that are still technically classed as open, but they might have been closed and processed by now even. So yeah, congratulations. We're getting closer and closer to that Houston release date, and I'm really excited about that. Okay, we've got some more Rocket Pool news here from Ken, and Ken is on a campaign to champion Rocket Pool home stakers being included in the hieroglyph protocol, and also like just getting kind of lobbying for us to be included with solo staker airdrops and that process being a little bit smoother. So he says opportunity to advocate for Rocket Pool home stakers to be included in the solo staking airdrop initiative to encourage Ethereum staking by an ordinals-like project. Leave your comments on Lens, on Farcaster Heroes, and that's the hieroglyph, and time is of the essence in your advocacy. And then they've got the hieroglyphs.lens protocol and hieroglyphs on Twitter and also on Farcaster, wherever you want to talk to them. So let's have a look and see what they're saying. So here is their Farcaster page, and they're saying what type of home stakers should be recognized. So there have been some replies over here already, but there's this paper saying, am I a solo staker from Eth Staker? That actually is worth spending a minute looking at. So this was by Nixo. And Nixo makes the case about why care about like defining solo staker, and why it's important to understand this class of node operators as solo stakers, and then kind of defining the terms involved. So solo staker is anyone who has more than 32 ETH. Home stakers are people who run their hardware at home. Remote stakers, these are people who run their hardware somewhere far away, but they're in control of the hardware. And then managed staker is people who use staking as a service. Liquid staker is someone who buys an LST token. And staker, anyone with ETH on the beacon chain. And then there's a bit more information here about like TLDR. And Nixo says, I would argue that the first three categories, which are solo stakers, home stakers, and remote stakers, are all class of independent operators. This is the important distinction to make, because these are the operators who are in a position where nobody can make decisions for them. Do we want to address the supermajority situation? An independent operator can switch from the supermajority client to the minority client. Anyone who doesn't manage their config must badger their provider and hope they understand the situation in time to make the change, and that the team has the engineering resources to do so. Do we want the chain to be sensitive to resistant? An independent operator can decide without needing permission from anybody to build blocks locally instead of using MEV boost. So these are the key people that we want to be looking for. And then these are the ones that, who we want to reward. So then Nixo says with airdrops, these are the lists that we recommend. And this is, GLC's list seems to be the best one so far. And they also have some do's and don'ts on how to have the airdrops go out. So that's really interesting. So just looking at Farcasty here, there have been 7 replies. People are saying, I said, I like Nixo's classification of so-called solo stakers, home stakers, and remote stakers. They should have all equal representation in this situation. That includes Rocket Pool node operators as home stakers. And then people are saying the machine at home that has a full amount of ETH deposited, I think Rocket Pool stakers, maybe, but at what point do you draw the line? Here, Nelson says solo and home staker both doing at home, avoiding centralization. Other people saying the distinction that they have executive control over their node and those who don't. Jasper says we should support maximally censorship resistance. Independent operators who make decisions on clients, relays, hardware, and software are what keep Ethereum decentralized and the ones that I think deserve to be recognized and awarded. And that includes Rocket Pool operators. Ken says, I strongly believe home stakers should be viewed nearly at the same level as solo stakers. If the intent was to decentralize the Ethereum blockchain, one of the leading barriers to creating more solo stakers is the financial cost of requiring 32 ETH. It says fully decentralized, permissionless, and trustless staking protocols like Rocket Pool provide all the independence to individual node operators while at the same time reducing the financial barrier to validating and protecting the blockchain by about 65%. So hopefully the hieroglyphs will take this on board and they will they'll use that in practice. Okay, we've got some news from other staking here, and this is from Lido today. So Lido says the use of the supermajority execution client Geth across validators on Lido has fallen from 93% to 46% since 2022, with considerable progress made in the last 3 quarters. So as you can see over here, their Geth amount has been dropping pretty much every month since Q4 of 2024. Right now, it's less than 50%. The chart shows 45.7%, with Nethermind making up 36% and Bisu making up 13% and Aragon making up like a trivial amount at the bottom there. But this is really cool. Like, kudos to Lido for promoting client diversity among their node operators. I really hope that 45% Geth goes down further. If you have a look at the client diversity website here made by Hani Abu and others, we see that Geth is currently at 63%. We really want that number to get down as much as possible. The consensus side distribution is much better. Prism with 38%, Lighthouse 32%, Teku 18%, Nimbus 11%, Lodestar 1%. If we can get Geth down to 30%, Nethermind, Besu, and Aragon, the others of those, around 20% each, or somewhere around that kind of distribution, that would be really great. Reth coming online soon on mainnet should help as well. If we can capture a few percent of market share from Geth, that would be really cool to see. Okay, moving on to some Ethereum news now. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the ETFs, and this isn't actually talking about the ETH spot ETF. This is actually some news about the futures ETFs for Ethereum. So Eleanor Terrett here says, Scoop, some issuers that are filed with the SEC Gov for leveraged ETH futures ETFs describe positive dialogue with the SEC staff over applications. One telling me that they feel optimistic the agency will let the funds go into effect based on engagement thus far. So there's vol shares and they have ETHU, ETHU ticker, and that is actually due to go live on June 4th. And this is the same kind of situation that we saw with the futures, ETH futures ETF coming online in the fall last year, where we got these applications and the SEC didn't tell them to withdraw right away, and that's normally a very strong sign that they will approve it. And basically that's the same thing that's happening now. It's actually really curious, right? So people were wondering, why are they letting leveraged futures ETFs go through, which is a far riskier product than the spot ETF for ETH. And over here, then we've got some more analysis on this from Scott Johnson. He says this is key to watch. Beyond this, we know the SEC has historically requested voluntary withdrawals and some similar ETH products within about a week of filing when they don't want them to go effective. It's now been over 3 weeks for these. So I guess, following precedents here, it's likely that these will be approved. Marceau actually asked Scott here, says, wouldn't allowing these further soften their argument for denying spot on the basis of being a security or correlation? Seems like another bizarre step that is painting the SEC into a corner. And Scott Johnson says, correlation is always available to them. It's in my opinion, the only way to guarantee they have a fairly defensible position that reduces likelihood of appeal. Everywhere else there is landmines. Maybe they can sneak through, but historically haven't demonstrated the requisite competence. So this is actually a really interesting perspective, right? So all the ETH is a security and all that kind of stuff, all those arguments kind of go away and they're not defensible. However, the correlations between the spot market and the futures market is where, that argument comes through. Of course, we've seen Coinbase and others present evidence that the correlation is just as strong as it was with Bitcoin, if not stronger in some timeframes. But the SEC using that argument is just kicking the can down the road. So they'll be able to reject based on the argument technically because, it hasn't had 2 years, which is what they said they wanted from Bitcoin. The fact that it hasn't had 2 years, and for the first 6 months of those 2 years, there was some, the correlation between the spot and the futures wasn't good. So they might be able to point to that and say, we don't have 2 years of good, correlation here. The impact of that, of course, would just be you wait 6 months of more good correlation, and then they won't have that, they won't be able to use that to deny the spot ETFs. I think at that point, it seems like they really are painting themselves into a corner, like Marceau here says, and they'll have to approve it. If they deny it based on the correlation argument now, in 6 months' time, that correlation argument goes away, and at that point they will not have any other defense, because even now they really shouldn't be able to use that defense. But that's what it looks like they're going to try to do if they reject it on May 23rd. I keep seeing people saying that if it gets approved somehow, it's going to be the most amazing day in ETH trading history. That candle that would come out from that would be something astonishing to see, and I hope it happens. I'm just not as expectant of it happening as Anthony is. Okay, there's more ETH regulatory stuff going on here. So this is not specifically for ETH, but about crypto, but I think they're going to be talking about ETH quite a lot. So yesterday we said about Patrick McHenry being really upset with Gary Gensler and kind of calling him out for some of the stuff that he's been saying. Well, there's a meeting that's been set up by Congress here. This is Chairman McHenry announces a capital markets subcommittee hearing entitled SEC Enforcement, Balancing Deterrence with Due Process. So the whole argument here, of course, is that, they're not doing due process properly, and they're regulating by enforcement, which of course is not the way that things should happen. But this is going to take place on May 7th, so make sure that you get in line to watch that. I'm not sure if it's going to be Gary Gensler who goes there, but it's going to be interesting to see what comes out of these discussions, because it's looking like they're trying to get away with whatever they can. The SEC, I mean, they're just getting away with it. So any congressional pushback, of course, is a good thing. Okay, so Eric Bilkunis here has some news about the spot Ethereum ETF coming out of Hong Kong and the Bitcoin one as well. He says, we try to warn everyone to lower expectations regarding Hong Kong, especially with that $25 billion opium overdose estimate. That said, if you localize numbers, this was big. E.g., China AMC Bitcoin ETF took more than $123 million on day one, which already ranks it 6th out of 82 ETFs launched in the past 3 years in Hong Kong and top 20 overall. And then he goes on to say that one of the confusing things about launch is a big gap between day one assets and volume. It looks like they had AUM already in before trading, versus in the US, issuers would rather have the pre-planned investors buy in on day one, so the volume is impacted, which helps with like the impact and stuff. So anyway, he goes here and he says that the other assets that were quite good were a Bosera ETF took in 61 million, and then we had total AUM 200 million, which is the equivalent of a US equivalent of 33 billion, believe it or not. The third one, Harvest, wasn't reported yet, and that's the one that's the cheapest of GP. I'm not sure what he means by that, but what he means here by the US equivalent is like the size of the ETF market in Hong Kong is so much smaller that if those values were made equivalent, in size, then that's how it would go forward. And then here's the Ethereum ETF news. It says the Bosera Ether ETF did $12 million, so it grabbed 16% of the share. The China AMC ETH was 14% share AUM, but 2 sample sizes only, but I bet that percentage roughly holds long term. So he thinks that the inflows between the BTC and the Ethereum ones will be around 84% BTC and 16% Ethereum. This is anywhere total for Hong Kong crypto day one, now up to $214 million. So that's pretty cool to look at. Yeah, the numbers weren't ever going to be as big as some people with the Hopium were expecting. I think that ETH number hopefully will go up more as people get more aware of what Ethereum is doing. But we'll definitely keep an eye on what's happening in Hong Kong and how that might or might not impact anything that happens in the US. Okay, so as you know, Anthony Sassano is off this week. And where is he this week? Well, he's off at Eth Global Sydney. So that is kicking off on on Thursday in Australia. So if you are there, you might bump into Anthony. If you are not there, it's a little bit late to make your way there now. But Sydney's a really cool city. And if you are there, I hope you have a wonderful time at the conference. Okay, next we're going to be talking about Safe for a second. So Safe is the multi-sig smart contract wallet that I think secures over $100 billion of Ethereum assets. And I use a Safe. A whole bunch of people use Safes. And now here, Devanon. This is a nice name, Devanon. Nice. It says Eternal Safe, my decentralized fork of the Safe wallet, funded by Safe Grant, is now live on IPFS and ENS alpha version released. So this is actually a really cool thing because there's so many assets that are locked in Safe. If there was ever an issue with the front end, the official front end, those would be locked except people who could interact with the smart contracts directly, which sadly a lot of people can't. So now we have these alternate front ends that will keep the accessibility to Safe happening regardless of anything that might or might not happen to the official front end. So this is actually really cool news. I'm totally a huge fan of alternative front ends for big DeFi and like infrastructure products, because in this era of regulation and like overzealous regulators, it's good to be able to have these backups in place for when people need to use them, like in catastrophic events of lockdowns or anything like that. One of my favorite protocols this is Liquidity. Actually, Liquidity doesn't have any official front end, and they're all community front ends that people use. I think that's right. But that's something that I'm hugely supportive of, and I really wish the Rocket Pool team would make their front end open source so people could fork it and host it on IPFS and in other places as well. Okay, so recently there's been a lot of hype building up about the new Coinbase smart wallet that is ready to come, and this is like a revamped Coinbase wallet, and people already really like the Coinbase wallet, and now with this revamp it's going to get even better. So here this person Anila, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, I'm sorry. This is me channeling my inner Anthony Sassano right now with butchering pronunciations of names. He says, holy shit, just set up Coinbase smart wallet in the repo and connecting to an app plus getting money into the wallet is stupid easy. It's a game changer. This is what most users will come to expect when using an app. So smooth and quick to go from creating a wallet to transacting. Amazing. And he says so close to having it set up in Nexus. And then there's some small questions about it working or not working. And this is getting the smart wallet to mint. And it's looking good. So the reason why I'm mentioning this is because we all know that Coinbase is very Ethereum aligned, and they have the base L2, of course, that's built on the OP stack. And what I think will be happening is, in a future bull market, hopefully, this current bull market that we're in right now, if it keeps going, we'll be getting a lot of retail users coming online through Coinbase, and Coinbase will be pushing these people to their Coinbase wallet. And the Coinbase wallet, I think the main home of that will be the base layer 2. So we want all of these people coming into the Ethereum ecosystem and having really easy to use and simple to use apps, and wallets will, I think, be a fundamental driver of crypto adoption and growth. And the fact that this is built on Ethereum is, well, absolutely amazing. So that is something I thought was worth covering. Okay, next we've got some good news out of the Rocket Pool community here. Peteris says, I am free after 7 years of 24/7 on call, no more. I said, what's next for you? And he says, I'm sleeping with my phone turned off tonight. So he says he's going to be spring cleaning, and then he'll update Rocket Scan for Houston, which I'm really excited about. I love Rocket Scan. It's a website I use pretty much every day. It's like a Etherscan version for Rocket Pool, for those of you who don't know. But yeah, it's really great when people from our community are able to quit their jobs. However, sadly, with some price action recently, there's been this new thread that was started by Sneaky, and this is called Finding 9 to 5 instead of the one that Peteris posted, in which he was leaving 9 to 5. So this is a thread where people can kind of help each other find a job, whether that's at McDonald's or a crypto job. At the moment, the conversation has mostly been kind of shitposting, but there's some talk of actual jobs available. So if you are interested in that, pop into this thread, and hopefully someone will be able to help you match your skills with a job. Okay, and finally, we're going to end today's episode with the GMC raffle. So this was people who've been helping Rocket Pool's Grants Management Committee, helping get their feedback for different grant applications and discussions around that whole process. We have 19 members who have a different number of tickets. So Valdorf, Peteris, Long for Wisdom, Jasper, Wooden Ship, Cal, Noshua, Patches, Epineph, Fornax, Dondo, Hodger, Mao, Peter, Nick, S, Butter, Feeling Good, Feeling Great, Scuzzle, and Hackworth. These are all people who have given feedback at different times, which is really great. Val, they've got different tickets. So Val has contributed in every round so far, which is absolutely amazing. And then others have contributed in fewer and different rounds along the way. So what I'm going to do is, you all know the drill by now. This is the raffle website that Hippocrates made for me. So thank you to him. I take that list, I paste it here. You can see the names of the people and the tickets. There's 3 prizes available, even though 8 names will show up. That's just because of the quirk of the thing. But the top 3 prizes will get, I think it's $250, $150, and $100. Don't hold me to that amount. Shifrin was the one who will be dealing with that. The only thing that I'm doing here is officiating the raffle. So let's go. Let's see what happens. Wait, sorry, I pressed the wrong go. Yeah, of course, Valdorf is number 1, Long for Wisdom number 2, and Dondo number 3. So congratulations to those people. Dondo only had 1 ticket, but he was able to get a prize. Congratulations to those 3 members. I will pass those names along to Shifrin, who will be in touch with you all for you to get those prizes that you so deserve. So on that note, thank you all for watching, listening, and being part of the Rocket Fuel community. It's been really cool having all this content for you all. So thanks for stopping by every day and watching, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.